Okay, thanks for joining us. We've got a fireside chat with Nexxen, and we've got Karim Reyes, Chief Product Officer, and Sagi Neri, Chief Financial Officer of Nexxen. Nexxen is a leading ad tech company that is focused on both the supply side and the demand side of the business. It's a company that we've launched coverage of with a buy rating. We do believe that this company is exposed to the secular growth of connected television and programmatic advertising at an incredibly non-demanding valuation of close to 4 times forward EBITDA. And what we're going to do today is talk about the company and also about some of the interesting innovations that Nexxen is doing. So Karim, Sagi, really delighted to have you guys here. Maybe to start off with, I'll kind of open this up to either one of you or both of you. But Nexxen, I think, has had a lot of kind of transformational activity over the past few years. You've streamlined into a listing in the U.S. that's a standard listing as opposed to an ADR, a single listing in this country versus a dual listing here and overseas. And you've gone through a period of kind of M&A to develop your product suite that's your go-to-market focus right now. Tell us a little bit about how you see Nexxen positioned within ad tech, what differentiates Nexxen, and why should investors care about Nexxen now?
Okay, I'll start, and then Karim can jump in and add to the things that I may missed. I think that, Nexxen, we rebrand to Nexxen like around 1.5 years ago. Nexxen is a combination of different companies that were acquired mostly in the last 5 years. So we are starting the story almost with carving out Tremor Video DSP. After that, acquiring Rhythm One, which was a company that had an SSP, and then it was our first time to go end to end, which this is our philosophy, our vision, and our strategy. I think that we started it in 2020, and I think that if you are listening to other companies today like Magnite and The Trade Desk and others, you are seeing that they are seeking the same strategy. They are not telling it specifically or implicitly, but they are doing so. So I think we acknowledged that long time ago. After that, we acquired Unruly in order to give us much more strategic partnership within the demand side industry. And after that, we acquired a CTV ad server because we acknowledge that CTV is the most important trend and where the users can be found and where they are consuming their content. And after that, we acquired, by the end of 2022, our last acquisition was Amobee, which gave us an omni-channel DSP and a lot of other capabilities that Karim can take us with. And after that, we acknowledge that all these different names of Unruly and Tremor and Amobee are not making sense, and we rebrand to Nexxen in order to have like one identity and one brand that is representing our end-to-end philosophy and our end-to-end platform. I think that we are differentiating because of the value chain that we are representing and the depth of our technology and capabilities. We can cater, or we are catering both sides of the industry. So we are helping, of course, advertisers and agencies to maximize and to fulfill their campaigns in the best way we can. And of course, we are helping or catering broadcasters, publishers, CTV vendors from the other side in order to maximize their inventory and their value. So I think this is what is differentiating us, and I think Karim can take us into our data play, where we acknowledge in the last, 2 to 3 years, that data is the most important piece within our industry, because at the end of the day, advertisers are looking to find users. They don't care really, on what inventory. They care to some extent, but they really don't care on what inventory we will find the user, but they want to have the specific users. And for that, we have a complex of different abilities that are helping us in order to bring or to meet the best performance and the best KPIs that both sides are looking for. Karim, I will let you to elaborate on that.
I mean, to add to what Sagi is saying, our philosophy is end to end. What that really means is we provide technology to advertisers, to onboard their campaigns and run their campaigns programmatically. We also provide technology to publishers to sell their inventory the most efficient way possible. And that is all unified together through a data platform that brings unique value to both customers, both on the sell side and buy side, helping them identify their audiences and better target those audiences. So, there's two core reasons to do this. First and foremost, from a cost and pricing standpoint for customers, there's less intermediary in the supply chain. There's less people involved in a transaction. That keeps more money in their pockets, both for publishers and advertiser. And that's why we're seeing this trend happening across the industry. Also, ad tech is pretty complex. There's a lot going on, right? So from the audience targeting to identity resolution, to planning, to measurement of campaigns. When you have multiple disparate technologies that are trying to do this cohesively, that becomes very complicated. So bringing in this and unifying this into a single technology stack brings a lot of value as well for both our sellers and our buyers. So there's commercial reasons to do it. There's technology reasons to do it.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, but I'm kind of curious about, this is definitely not historically the norm for one company to be on both sides. And that's because of, I think certain trust issues and certain belief that you're either on the side of the buyer or on the side of the seller, and they shouldn't be connected. So how do you address kind of your positioning relative to the more traditional positioning where these realms are kept separate, in part for competitive reasons?
I mean, I think that's half true, right? If you look at the largest companies in online advertising, you're talking about Facebook, Google, and the value they bring is the customer and the advertiser are on the same platform, and they build that unification. So we're looking to do that for the open internet. And as Sagi mentioned earlier, we're seeing our peers doing the same, and buy side platform building sell side technologies and vice versa, and trying to catch up on this because of the reasons I mentioned. So I think we saw this, the evolution of ad tech in general. It started with end-to-end platform many, many years ago, which were ad servers, became programmatic, and you had this split between buy side and sell side. And now we're seeing that convergence happen again in the industry.
Okay. All right. So maybe we can delve a little bit deeper into what you guys are doing. So one thing you have is your Nexxen data platform. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what specific capabilities underpin the data platform and the unique assets that you offer, and what this does for your conversations with advertisers and publishers.
Sure, I can take this one. So first and foremost, the Nexxen data platform enables customer to onboard their data to our platform directly. So this can be both for advertisers and publisher, bringing their first-party audiences to our system. Once that audience is onboarded, we're able to pull insights and against that audience, against multiple panels we control in our system, meaning we're able to tell them, here are the sites they visit, here are their interests, here are the brands they engage with, competitive analysis, here's the content they consume on TV, and so on and so forth. So we leverage that data to then build an audience targeting strategy as well as a media targeting strategy. So from planning, we have activation tools so we can generate audiences off those insights directly and push them to either our supply platform or demand platform, depending on the activation use case. From there, we offer measurement services to measure the performance of campaigns. So it's really holistic capabilities across the board. That's underpinned by unique data we have from TV data that we can cover in a little bit, but around ACR, so TV viewership data with our partnership with Vida and Hisense. as well as contextual data, audience data, et cetera, that are unique to our platform that help power all of this. So underpinning all of this is an identity resolution solution. So essentially, we have a Nexxen person and household that lives across our system, and that enables us essentially to have consistent planning to activation to measurement across the transactions.
Okay. So with this Nexxen data platform, I think one area where perhaps you're leveraging that and extending is moving really where so many are moving, which is artificial intelligence. Now, you guys have some specific initiatives, Nexxai DSP Assistant, Nexxai Discovery. And I was wondering if you tell us a little bit about those products and what you have in the pipeline. I think in particular, you've spoken about some things for the second half of this year and as well as next year.
Sure. So Nexxai DSP Assistant is essentially the AI assistant available within our buy-side platform, our DSP. And this enables customers to pull insights on their campaigns, find opportunities, optimize. Essentially, it's an assistant that lives through all the pages. It's deeply integrated into the platform, enables them to drive efficiency and automation. So essentially reduce their workload while bringing better value. That product will continue to innovate over time. And the long-term goal of this product is for full automation to essentially be able to set up and optimize campaigns with very little user intervention. On the discovery side of things, Discovery is our planning and insights audience tool. It is tied to the Nexxen data platform. So this is when I was talking about onboarding first-party data, and pulling insights off that data and building targeting tactics and opportunities. This essentially automates all of that. So it used to take, so typically Discovery was a product used by analysts. Typically takes 4 to 5 hours to do a full analysis against a brand. With Discovery AI, we're able to pull these analyses in 3 minutes. And it really increase the addressable market of the product because now it's traders are able to use it, sellers are able to use it. So we've been using this internally and start rolling this out to customer. Same with this product, we continue to innovate and add more insights to the product. We're focusing right now on media insights, essentially based on the audiences, where should you target and find inventory, both on TV and on web. So that's the next step of that product. Broader than that, Nexxai is our AI tool across the entire platform. We're working on a sell-side product today for our SSP. This has been rolled out internally, and our internal teams are using this. We're going to be rolling this out to customer in the second half of the year. We also have a TV planning product called Total TV, which is tied to our TV viewership data, our partnership with Vida. And we've built an AI tool on top of that, also leveraged internally, and will be rolled out to customers in the second half of the year. And this helps them do TV planning, both for traditional linear TV and digital together. So multiple products in the pipeline, more to come. Our goal from there is to connect all these assistants together into unified solutions. So essentially a sell-side platform can benefit from the data from the buy side and vice versa. So really leveraging the data we have across the end-to-end platform for our customers.
Now, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you see this effort distinct from what would be your peer set, your competitive set, because we do hear about so much development in AI, and much of it seems to be along lines that are somewhat similar to what you're describing. But how is what you're doing distinct, different, interesting relative to what else is out there?
I'd say the main thing I could say around that is it sits on top of our core differentiated products. So Nexxen Discovery is a unique product in market, and we're building AI to enhance the workflow and the automation of that product. So that can't be replicated simply with AI. You also need the underlying product to build on top of. So our focus has been to introduce AI into our core differentiated products, rather than build standalone AI solutions. And that's really where the differentiates come from. So we're doubling down on the unique products we have in market that help us win customers and increasing their efficacy.
So I think part of the idea is, by making the tool more functional for customers that perhaps can help with business momentum. I think there's also a certain table stakes, like you have to do this really to be competitive in this industry. And what is what you would say kind of the, I think you kind of alluded to this already, but when all is done, is this a situation where you want someone to be able to sit back and just press a button and soup to nuts, create a campaign, deploy it across Nexxen and all of the media that you can touch?
Long term, yes, but got to understand AI is a journey, and you got to build and establish customer confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So this starts as phase one, and pulling insights, leveraging our AI tools, and showing the customer value through those insights, which we've done. Then it's creating suggestion and automation around campaign optimization and so on, but still leaving the customer the option to accept or decline those changes. And that's where we are today. And as customers see the value of this and start trusting the tools and all that, I think that's how you get to full automation. So it's more than just a technology problem. It's also establishing that customer trust where they feel that essentially, they can take a step back as a trader and let the system do its thing and not blindly trust the system that it's doing best. So that's what we're doing. We're also we're informing the users on all of the decisions the AI is making as it's making them as well. So we're giving them full transparency into the process, which helps establish that process. So that's the journey we're on. But the goal is definitely full automation over time, but still give customer choice. So this will be an option for those that want to use it, and they can use that at any tier, essentially from insights to suggestion to full automation.
Okay. Now, we spoke about how this layers onto your core platform, your core value proposition. You spoke about data. We spoke about the fact that you're end to end. To what degree is being both on the demand side and the supply side helpful when you're rolling out an AI system? Is there some advantage in that might differentiate you from others' AI deployments, which are really one side or other of the marketplace?
Yeah, from technology standpoint, you essentially the data available on an SSP or sell side platform, data available are in a DSP or buy side platform are distinct. Sell side platform has a lot more information about the publishers and the media available across the ecosystem, where the buy side has a lot more information on the advertisers and their targeting strategy, et cetera. So essentially, when you're an independent sell side platform or buy side platform, you're connecting to a black box. So having the data available from both sides to inform the AI is very powerful and can help buyers make better decisions and sellers make better decisions as well to optimize their media and campaigns. So this is really access to data across the entire transaction, from the customer visiting the property to the advertiser is key. Essentially, AI needs data, and the better data you have to train your AI tools, the better they'll perform. And we believe we have a strong advantage there.
Okay. Sagi or Karim, I was wondering if you could level set a little bit in terms of just reminding us what portion of Nexxen's business is with customers that are working across the demand side and the supply side, and what portion is kind of just one or the other.
Yes, so I'll take that one. I think it's quite simple. Around 50% of our gross spend on our ecosystem is being fulfilled on both sides, i.e., $1 that is coming on the demand side and is being fulfilled or executed on our supply side platform. And the other 50% is dollars that are coming from third-party DSPs and are being executed on our SSP.
Thank you for that. So we've spoken about the go-to-market part of AI. AI, I think, is also a focus internally. And Sagi, I think perhaps you can touch on this a little bit with Karim, but how are you guys using AI internally? And on top of that, Sagi, if you could talk a little bit about what you see as the margin opportunity from AI over time for Nexxen.
Yeah, so I can start. At the end of the day, as Karim mentioned, he talked about, the different capabilities and AI fulfillment that we have around our different tools that we are allowing or offering our customers to use. On top of that, of course, it's helping our internal efficiency. So it has like different layer of efficiency. Some of the efficiency are coming really from headcount. As Karim said, if something that we are using internally took us 4 hours and now it's taking 3 minutes, of course, we don't need the same number of headcount at the end of the day. So again, it's early days. We started to invest more heavily on AI in 2025. On the second half, we will invest more. And probably we will see the initial fruits of that on the efficiency side in 2026. And of course, it will help us, to maintain and to expand our margin, and will take us into the place we want to be in the meter.
Yeah, I mean, to add to this, we actively leverage AI in our development cycle as well. To automate code writing and so on. And the goal is to really become an AI first organization when it comes to product development and increase the rate of innovation. So we've been on this journey now for a little over a year. And, as Segi said, still early days, but we believe this will bring a lot of efficiencies over time.
It's incredibly interesting. We recently did a survey of large IT organizations across this country. And a very healthy majority were expecting 20% plus minus staffing reductions over a couple of years in the software development area because of AI. Sounds like you guys are seeing something akin to that.
Yeah, I think our goal right now to start with is to push to work towards growth, right, and increase our rate of innovation and bring more customers to the platform. We're already a very efficient business, and we do believe there's savings to be had through R&D as well. But right now, essentially, we're trying to do more with the teams we have today, and we'll be working through that as we're doing our plannings for next year and so on in terms of staffing and where we go from here. I think you're about right. We're going to see these reduction in staff. We're going to see hiring slow down because of this, and we're already feeling that.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about VIDAA, which is a unique partnership / investment that Nexxen has. And this is a connected TV operating system, which is affiliated with Hisense, which is a very substantial TV, I think, distributor manufacturer. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about a few things. One, give us the background on this partnership. When did you start it? Why did you start it? And why is this important to you guys?
So we started it in 2022. I think that, it was the days that it was post the pandemic time where, CTV trend was booming. People were mostly at their homes consuming content on TV. And this is like, enhanced dramatically the CTV advertising. I think that we acknowledge that in order to be differentiated and to have like an advantage on that front, we need to go all in. And at that point of time, VIDAA, which was kind of a new operating system affiliated, of course, with Hisense, they were looking, for their like ad tech partner in order to enhance their capabilities and to monetize their inventory and their ACR data. So I think the match was done over there. They went on a tender and we won it. And I think, the part of the establishing the partnership and the trust between the two companies, we decided that we are investing into VIDAA, and we acquired 2.5% of that company. And on top of that, we went into a commercial agreement when we are utilizing or having the exclusive right for all of their worldwide ACR data. Karim can take us after that, and talk. I think he already talked about the importance of the ACR data, because if you want to target people within the CTV and the TV, and outside of that as well, you need this ACR data. So I think that outside of Nexxen, there's no really someone that has an exclusive ACR data that he can facilitate. Most of the operating system that have ACR data, they are keeping this to themselves. This is the biggest asset. So they are allowing people to monetize their inventory, but they are not allowing people to use or utilize their ACR data. So I think this is kind of a unique proposal. And of course, part of the investment in VIDAA, we are allowed to do with the ACR data whatever we want. We can target upon it ourselves. We can sell it outside. We can give it to measurement purposes and other stuff. I think this is a huge asset. And the partnership between the companies made us to reinvest in the company and acquire another 3.5% and expanding our commercial agreement with them until the end of at least until the end of 2029.
And if I could just step in for a second, I want to tell those in the audience that if you do have a question, there's a chat functionality. You can type in a question, I can see it, and work it into the conversation. We have somewhere around 15 minutes left, so if you have a question, please offer them. So Kareem, did you want to add on to what Sagi just said?
Sure. I mean, I think it's important to understand also that we're not just licensing the data, we're the technology partner making this all work. So we're deeply embedded in Hisense television to collect that data out of the TV. And as Sagi mentioned, TV data is becoming increasingly important for multiple reasons. In the past, people, TV advertisers would advertise on linear TV and then have a separate strategy for digital. What we're seeing today is a high fragmentation of viewership. So the same content's available through so many channels, through so many devices, mediums, etc. So being able to bring this back together in planning requires that TV viewership data. So in terms of TV planning, it's critical to have access to this data. And then from there, as I mentioned earlier, in terms of audience targeting, et cetera, and reaching customers where they are, understanding where they are, what content they're consuming is very critical and deep part of our activation strategy. And then lastly, we use this data for measurement as well. So when you want to do what we call cross-screen measurement, meaning you're showing an ad on television and trying to understand what is the downstream behavior of the customer from there. Are they going in purchasing a product? Are they tuning into a show if you're doing entertainment advertising, et cetera? That data is deeply embedded in that as well. So it is very core to what we do and a big part of our CTV growth. And and Hisense is now number 2 in sales in terms of manufacturers. So beyond the US, we have a global footprint with this data and have high market share in multiple markets that matter to us. So it's also a big part of our international expansion strategy.
I want to ask about that because my understanding is that the VIDAA OS is more popular internationally than it is in the US. In the US, Roku and a couple of others, Google, are more prominent. So is it really helpful in the US or is it more kind of an international play?
It's both. In the US, essentially, when it comes to Hisense, we also operate through the Google operating system. So we have a combination of VIDAA and Google, where globally VIDAA is the number 1 OS used by Hisense. And so it's both. I'd say the US is still growing, and part of our new investments to help fund that growth. And we expect those numbers to continue to climb over the next couple of years.
So to drill in on that a little bit, the Google data, the relationship through the Google OS and Hisense, does that give you essentially the same ACR data you get through the VIDAA OS internationally?
So this is the region. It's in the US.
Yeah, but it's the same type of data in the US that you would get outside the US. And okay, and is that because I know in your renewal of the relationship, you spoke about the opportunity to do more in the US, but Google's been a popular OS here for some time. You've been with VIDAA for some time. Is this relationship to get ACR data in the US? What's new about that? What is it that you can accelerate that wasn't being optimized before?
So I think as part of the investment, as Kareem said, The money that we are putting into Vida is supposed to go only for one cause, and this cause is to distribute as many TV sets as we can in the US. So it will grow dramatically the number of TV sets that Vida and ourselves can enjoy in the US, and of course it will scale up our targeting and measurement capabilities. I think that on top of that, Vida are doing a lot of other partnership other than with us, with different OEMs. So it's not only the Hisense TVs that are being embedded with the Vida operating system. There are a lot of other brands that are using Vida as their operating system. And Vida just signed 2 months ago an agreement with Vestel, which is a European OEM. So I think, we are coming from different direction, and by the end of, I don't know when exactly, but in the coming years, probably Vida will be a major player in the US as well.
So you would think, because right now it's the Google OS, so in the US, you think it switches to the Vida OS over time?
Well, Hisense in general distributes multiple OSs across their television, so it's going to be, it's going to be a split. Okay. We expect, again, that's more their decisions and how to drive their business. In our part of our investment, as Sagi mentioned, is to essentially get that Vida distribution going at higher scale in the US.
Okay, so we should see, and when you talk about Vida, are you using that as a catchphrase for all of the OS that Hisense is supporting in the US, or
as the Vida OS within Hisense and other OEMs?
So when they're specifically pushing the Vida OS, that helps you in terms of when it's in other OEMs, that gives you access to more data in the US. Is that one of the big gets?
Yes, and also media. So part of this, we also power the media from that OS. So if you think about the home screen as you start your television, the advertising available there, and then in-stream, meaning within the applications distributed on the television, the commercial breaks. So it gives us higher access to media as well.
Okay. So you're kind of moving to some degree further into the terrain that Roku occupies today.
Yeah, to some extent, the partnership with Vida is bringing us to play the Roku game as well.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about some of the financials. So Sagi, turning to the second quarter earnings call, Nexxen reiterated your outlook for contribution ex-TAC of around $380 million, which is up around 11% or so. EBITDA up around 9% to 125. The CXT outlook here near term presumes an acceleration from the first half, which was closer to around 6% growth thereabouts. What gives you confidence that this can happen, particularly given all of the macro questions out there? And is your outlook more 4Q weighted, or do we start to see more of it in the third quarter in terms of acceleration?
So I think we will see acceleration in Q3. It will be, a better quarter than Q1, but still Q4 will be the strongest, as it is every year. I think that, the environment is still challenging, but I think that the end-to-end and all the things we just touched is helping us. And usually when we are seeing some slowdowns in some part of our business, we are seeing, some other businesses or line of businesses are doing better. I think that the enterprise relationship we've built over the last years are starting to scale up. I think as we saw in Q2, data and tech licensing, as Karim mentioned, a lot of our different capabilities is accelerating. So we are seeing more and more clients licensing our products, and hopefully we will see much more than that. And of course, we need to understand that every license is, the revenue is the EBITDA because there's no extra cost. So everything is moving into the bottom line. As I said, seasonality is usually weighted towards Q4. And, it's not something that we embedded into our plan, but I think that, some instances, the Google the Google trial and everything around that can help us as well. But again, it's not something that we forecasted or have the exact number, the exact percentage we think we may go up according to the remedies and the judgment of the court. So I think we are quite confident with our ability to accelerate H2 much more than H1. In H1, we had like both times of tariffs that came in and came out that stopped the market for a couple of days or weeks, and then got back into the usual business. So I think we can make it.
Okay. So you had also spoken about a long-term target of a compound annual revenue growth rate. I guess it's more a medium-term target as you describe it at your Investor Day in May. A medium-term target of about 10% CXT contribution ex-TAC growth and adjusted EBITDA margins in the 40% range, which I think is compares to the low 30 range that you're in right now of EBITDA as you define it. What can you give us a little bit of explanation of why you think those are reasonable targets and how you see Nexxen progressing towards that type of long-term trajectory, or medium-term, I should say?
Yes, sure. So I think, again, the end-to-end model, of course, supports the strong land and expand motion. So we are increasing customer stickiness and revenue per client. I think CTV momentum with us deepening the partnership, ability to connect CTV tech with unique TV data, and of course the new agreement with iSense, which are giving us, as Karim mentioned, inventory monetization opportunities into 2026 and onwards, will take us through on that front. As I mentioned before, I think that data and tech licensing will grow, and of course in transforming the expanded VIDAA deal as well. I think that we have a strong business model and operating leverage, that most of the contribution ex-TAC growth will flow into the bottom line. And I think, as Karim mentioned, the AI efficiencies expect, of course, to further boost margin over time. So I think what we said in the Investor Day a couple of months ago, I think we are on track on that. I don't see anything that can, for now, deviate us from our aim to get to the 40% of adjusted EBITDA in the midterm.
Now, I want to talk for a minute here. We just have a few minutes left about how you're allocating capital. So the nice thing about your business is you do generate some very good cash flow. And a big use of cash flow for Nexxen over the past 3 years has been share repurchase. You've bought back something like 34% of your shares in those 3 years. And yet you've signaled kind of a pivot. So your previous share repurchase had been a $50 million authorization, which had been re-upped at least a couple of times, I believe. And most recently, you've re-upped for $20 million and spoken about acquisitions, looking for acquisitions, which is something you've done historically, but not for the past year plus. Could you talk a little bit about why this change in kind of outlook, why more interest in acquisitions now, and share repurchase, how you think about that going forward, fitting into the mix?
Yes, sure. So again, I think we bought only in 2025 until the end of Q2, something around $73 million of our own shares. And I think that in the last 3 years, we acquired almost 34% of our company, something around $250 million. So as you said, we are very cash generative. And as long as we will, think that we are undervalued and our share is the best thing to invest in outside of our, organic growth and internal company needs, we will keep buying back our shares. And as you mentioned, we are still executing a $50 million buyback we announced a couple of months ago, and we already seek for a new $20 million buyback plan that will hopefully kick in less than 30 days. I think some of the capital allocation are going now to the new agreement with VIDA, which we are investing $35 million in the next 2 years. I think that we are thinking about M&A again because we are seeing the last one that we did was like 3 years ago. We think that we can make, a quick win and to shorten the time to market, probably with some AI or data companies that will help us to better execute our initiative and do it much faster. So I think this is the reason we're now thinking that it may, with all the money that we have, it may be the right time in order to move forward with a small M&A. Again, it's not going to be as big as the Amobee acquisition was. And we are exploring that. So I think this is the right time for us to go down that path, or maybe even invest in or make a foray into some activities that we don't have any hold right now, like advertising out of home or other stuff. So we are exploring all these different things, and if we'll find the right prospect, of course, we'll move forward with that.
Okay. And just to level set, your Amobee acquisition in September 22, I think, was $239 million, if I have that correct. And so you're looking smaller than that. It would be adjacencies, but tuck-ins and capabilities and perhaps geographic is really what you're looking to complement your core. So that's great. So I think we're at basically the appointed time. So Sagi, Karim, thank you very much for talking us through Nexxen.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.